Hello and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, hi, I'm Cassidy. If it's not, thanks for always tuning into my videos. Today we're doing a series update, catch up on all the series I read this year. Last year, the beginning of this year I guess, one of my goals was to stop binging series because previously I had only read about 30 books in a year and most of those were part of series, and so I was struggling with giving lots of recommendations and making lots of content. So one of my goals was to actually start more series, but that spiraled. That went down a black hole. And I need to rein it back. We need to pull it back in. We need to stop starting so many series. I started 54 series this year. That's not good. I read 33 sequels this year, which is a good number, but I only finished 6 series this year. That is the most disappointing number of my entire life. As someone who says they are a binge reader, what is wrong with me? Why is that number so low? And I caught up to publication on 16 series, which that one I'm okay with. That one I'm happy with. But I have other stats for you because I actually have a spreadsheet with every series that I've ever worked on. And on top of that, I do have a video for you if you want to go watch before this, because I will only be going over in this video things I touched upon this year. But I do have a video from last year, last Christmas time, where I go over all the series I've ever read, ones I'm continuing, ones I'm DNFing, all of that fun stuff. There's no spreadsheet because I wasn't that fancy back then, and now I have one. I do have statistics for you based on this spreadsheet. In total, during the last 3 years of my reading tracking, I think that's when it starts. It starts since 2019. These are what these stats correlate to. Since 2019, I have started 102 series. I have completed 20 of those series. I'm up to date on 19 of those series, and I've DNF'd 32 of those series. I am currently working on 31 series. So that 31 series is only ones that are not up to publication date, ones that I could have completed that I want to continue on, but I haven't. If I add in the up-to-date ones, I have 50 ongoing series currently. To be honest, this isn't as bad as I thought it was. It's actually not terrible. The problem is that I did most of those this year, and that's what I don't like. Let's go over everything I've worked on this year. So the first series we can talk about, we won't go in order of how I've worked on them because the spreadsheet goes in order of when they were started. So the first one I started all the way back in 2020. But I worked on it this year. There's different colors. It's kind of a ripoff of Becca's. If you've seen Becca's, I won't be giving out to anyone because I think Becca's is a ripoff of someone else's. But I saw Becca's video and I was like, ooh, I like that. So then I kind of made my own. But there's colors up top for each year. And then we have a DNF color, a complete color, and up-to-date color on the side. And if it has no color, that means I'm still working on it. The purple color is the one we're looking for today. This year I caught up to date on the Burning series by Evan Winter. I read Fires of Vengeance. It's the last one that's been published. I think the next one is called The Lord of Demons. We have no idea for a publication date, but I'm very, very, very excited for that one. And I'm pretty much stalking Evan Winter until he tells me when he's going to put it out. But yeah, the first one I was up to date on. The next one I'm up to date on is The Drowning Empire. The Bone Shard Emperor came out this year, and I read it. The Bone Shard War comes out next year. I plan on reading it, but I'm currently up to date for that one, which is nice. I finished the Mirror Visitor Quartet. I read Storm of Echoes this year. Nice and caught up. Nice and easy. I'm also caught up on the Bridge Kingdom series. I probably could count this as individual duologies, but I'm counting it as a 6-book series, even though it's 1 and 2 together, 3 and 4 are together, and 5 and 6 are together, and they're duologies. But The Inadequate Heir, up to publication date. I read it. I'm excited for the next book. The next one I continued is the Clown in a Cornfield series. Originally this was complete, but of course we got a 3rd book announced, and so I'm super excited that this has been moved to up to date because I am excited for that next book in the series. I also read The Memory of Souls, which is a book for the Course of Dragon series. I still have the House of Always and the Discord of Gods to read, but we'll get there. We will get there. Hopefully these will be done next year. I read for the Rainwild Chronicles, I read Dragonhaven. I believe it was my first read, actually, of the year, and then I have not continued since then. This one stares at me all the time. I read the rest of the Realm of the Elderlings, the first 3 series within 4 months, so how have I spent a whole year and not picked up the next one? I don't know. I made brilliant progress on the Wayward Children series. Every Heart a Doorway was my last book last year, and then I burned through the next 6 in February, I think, for Wandering Through Worlds TBRPG-a-thon. That's what I read that for, and I will read the new one when it comes out. I started and DNF'd the Shattered Sea trilogy. I read Half a King. I loved Half a King. I gave it 5 stars, but I decided to DNF it because the book wraps up really nicely for me and it just feels like a standalone, and there's other series I want to prioritize over it because of that feeling. Maybe once I read more Joe Abercrombie, I'll come back and decide to un-DNF this, but for now, it is a DNF. I started the Wheel of Time series and I made not a lot of progress. I read The Eye of the World and that's it. But most of you probably know that I joined Sandra for Wheel of Time Along this coming year. So I will be making progress. I will be continuing and finishing the series in like 2.5 years. We'll finish it, but this will happen next year. Progress will be made. This series stares at me. I do not like how much anger looking at this does to me. The Faithful and the Fallen series. I think my only goal after I read Malice was to binge read and finish this quartet, and I have not. That has not been done. I read Malice, I read Valor, I read half of Rune, I have not finished Rune, have not picked up Wrath. I need to do this. Like, I need to do it. I started the Silent God series. I read Master of Sorrows earlier this year for BookTube Bestie. It was Jade's BookTube Bestie. I felt okay about it. I will consider DNFing this, but I decided I wanted to try Master Artificer first before I decided on my exact opinions. So I just need someone to give me that push to pick up Master Artificer so that I can get that going and decide whether I'm going to actually continue or DNF, because right now this one's kind of up in limbo, and so I've left it as like open. I DNF'd the Winter Night trilogy earlier this year. I read The Bear and the Nightingale and The Girl in the Tower. Did not get to The Winter of the Witch. It just wasn't a series for me. I read it for Polarthon in February, and it's not my typical fantasy. I didn't vibe with it. Too atmospheric for me and just not my typical read, so I decided not to suffer through. Although I kind of wish I did, because then it would have been a nice, beautiful stat. It was trying to be like reading a series in a week. Could have read The Winter of the Witch, and then I would have had another completed series on my list. I'm currently caught up with the Radiant Emperor series. This starts with She Who Became the Sun. I read this earlier the year for BookTube Bestie, Erin's BookTube Bestie. I really, really enjoyed this one. Can't wait for the second book to come out this coming year, and I'll read it. I DNF'd Ice Planet Barbarians. This is kind of a weird DNF because the idea is that, like, I'm not, like, not gonna continue, but I don't plan on continuing. I think for Ice Planet Barbarians, if a time comes where I'm looking for like a fun, fluffy read, I'm kind of down, I just need something to laugh and have me happy, I might pick up more books in this series. But no part of me thinks I will finish this series. No part of me wants to make it a goal to finish the series. So I think putting it as a DNF is the best plan for me for now. If I continue it, I continue it. I don't think it'll ever remove from the DNF'd series just because it's more like companion books for me. If it's fun, I'll read them sometimes, but like, if content calls, but I have no like exact plans. The Wicked Villains series I DNF'd. I read Desperate Measures for BookTube Bestie, Becca's version, and I did not like it. It's been DNF'd. The Plated Prisoner series is a DNF. I read Guild and Glint, and then I was kind of struggling with it, but Sahar had her book club reading them, and Rye dropped out of that, and I was like, uh-oh, so then I didn't continue. And then I said I will continue depending on how Mel felt at the end, and Mel pretty much told me it wouldn't go in the direction I wanted it to go in, and so I decided to DNF it. I'm currently working on the Bound and the Broken series by Ryan Cahill. I read Of Blood and Fire, and for some reason The Fall is in here, even though it's a novella, which I normally don't count, but I have read that, but I haven't continued with Of Darkness and Light. I planned on it. I wish I had already. I started the Royal Champion this year. I read The Swordsman's Lament, and there is a prequel novella now, and a second book. I need to continue, but this is another book that just reads like a standalone to me, and I'm very happy with the way it wrapped up. I plan on continuing. I want to continue, but I need that push. I really need a push to pick it up. I'm up to date on the Ilborn saga. Ilborn I read, loved. Age of Sin comes out next year. Can't wait to get to. I finished, finally, and the Tide Child trilogy. I read this for Backlist Book Club. It was our first pick, and we read all 3. I didn't like them, but at least I completed a series. A Deal with a Demon is currently up to update. And yes, I am not DNFing this because for some reason the Late Night Crew, unofficially, officially, book club ends up reading these together. So I have a feeling when The Gargoyle's Captive comes out, we will be buddy reading it. So I'm leaving it as a series I'm still working on. The Lord of the Rings. I read The Fellowship of the Ring and then I haven't continued, and this will probably take a really, really long time before I continue, but I'm not DNFing it because I want to read it because it's such a staple for the classic of the genre. I DNF'd the Broken Empire trilogy. I probably want to, I debate counting this as a finish sometimes, just because I read Prince of Thorns, I read King of Thorns, and I read 60% of Emperor of Thorns, and then I decided to DNF Emperor of Thorns to not put myself in a slump. But I probably will never go back and finish Emperor of Thorns, but like I feel like I completed it. I just feel like it. But it's a DNF. Dragon Spirits by L.L. McRae. Technically I could take this off because I only read the novella, and I said earlier I don't count novellas. I read the prequel novella for it, but I haven't read the first book in that series yet, which is The Iron Crown. I completed the Sinner's Duology, which is There Are No Saints and There Is No Devil. I completed the Mind F series. There was 5 of those. I read them. I started the Brutal Birthright series, Brutal Prince, Stolen Heir, and Savage Lover. I need to continue this at some point. Again, I just don't read romance often, so I often need the push to read dark romance and any type of romance. I DNF'd the Blackwood Institute. I read that for Smut Den. Didn't enjoy it. I DNF'd the Aspect series, starting with the Souls Aspect. I didn't continue. I just decided to DNF it. I'm up to date on the Bonds of King, which starts with the Kings of Radiance. I really, really enjoyed this series. I'm up to date on Nomads of the Sea, another indie I loved. I DNF'd the Creature Cafe series. I also read this for Smut Den, the first book. Don't plan on continuing. Another one that haunts me is the Greenbone Saga. I read Jade City and Jade War, and I started Jade Legacy. I'm like 10 pages in, but haven't continued it. I need to finish this. I need to knock this off the completed list. It was a goal of mine. Haven't done it. I started the Cat and Mouse duet. Loved Haunting Adeline. Need to continue with Hunting Adeline. Haven't done that yet. I started the Dragon Riders of Pern series. I read Dragonflight. I need to continue. I really need to continue with those. I DNF'd the Dark Gods series, which starts with City of Dusk. I didn't appreciate it. Didn't really like that one. We're DNFing it. We're not going to continue, even though I'm tempted. I completed the Winnowing Flame trilogy. Backlist Book Club coming in clutch for finishing some series. The Ninth Reign, The Bitter Twins, The Poison Song. I really adored this trilogy in the end. I think I have really fond memories over it. I think it went 5, 4, 3 for stars, but overall I have fond memories of reading the trilogy. I finished the Burning Blade and Silver Eye trilogy. Technically, Emperor of Rune is not out yet, but I had an advanced reader's copy, and I read it. I completed it. I loved it. It's so good. Ash of the Sun, Blood of the Chosen, and Emperor of Rune were all read this year and completed. I started and DNF'd the Inheritance Cycle. Aragon. A lot of these, are for videos. I need to stop doing videos with books I'm not going to continue on. I'm up to date with the Red Winter Chronicles. Daughter of Red Winter. I read and liked. Traitor of Red Winter comes out next year. I can't wait to read it. I DNF'd the Small Spaces series. I read the first one for a vlog. Not my jam. I'm not really a middle grade reader. I DNF'd this Cassidy Blake series. Same thing. Read it for the exact same vlog. I can't bring myself to pick up middle grade. I'm just not a middle grade reader. I'm not a middle grade lover. It's just a thing for me. I started the Atlas series. I read the Atlas 6. Still haven't read the Atlas Paradox. I need to go do that. I DNF'd Rivenworld. Dragon Mage, which was supposed to be a standalone, and it would have been nice because then it wouldn't be on this list, but it became a series. Next book's not out yet, but it's becoming a series. DNF'd it. I started the Divine Cities. I read City of Stairs. I plan on continuing with City of Blades and City of Miracles. Another one I probably will need a push for. I DNF'd the Threadlight series. I read Voice of War and Stones of Light. Decided I'm not continuing. Didn't enjoy them. That's all there is to say. I'm up to date on the Dawnless Nights, which starts with Winds of Strife. I'm very excited for whenever we get news for book 2. I really, really adored this indie. And I'm up to date with Ashes of Avarin, A Touch of Light. Woohoo. I loved it. 5 stars. Amazing. A Shade of Madness comes out in January. I need to get on it because I have an advanced reader copy. I DNF'd the Abhorsen series, which starts with Sabriel. I read it for a vlog. I told you, I need to stop reading things for vlogs. In the same vlog, I read The Blackstone Heart, and I ended up DNFing the Obsidian trilogy. Woohoo! The Lycanis trilogy. It's current backlist book club pick. I've read The Shadow Was Lost. I'll read an Echo of Things to Come this month, and then February it will be The Light of All That Falls. So that one will be finished soon. I started the Black Winter series by Darcy Coates. I read Voice in the Snow. I can't wait to continue. I really need to do that. And then these last couple are all SPFBOs, so the Sharded View I'm up to date with. I've read The Umbral Storm, can't wait to continue. Tethered Spirits, I just finished this morning, so I don't know, this video will probably come out before the vlog comes out. I do plan on continuing, and I am up to date. Miss Percy's Pocket Guide, I'm DNFing. I have an hour left in the audiobook, and I can't see anything making me want to pick up the next one. It reads pretty nicely as a standalone. I think it's the similar thought to like Half a King. I just probably will not continue with the series. The Cruel Gods, I will not be continuing. That was in the last SPFBO vlog. The Fire of the Forebears, I am counting as completed series just because the author passed away sadly and will never write another book in the series, so I'm just counting it as complete. And then Regency Dragons, I will be DNFing as well. In the same vein as I think Ice Planet Barbarians, if I ever feel the want and the vibe to pick up the next book in Regency Dragons, I will. But as a whole, I have no completionist value to the series, and so I'm going to count it as a DNF'd series. There we go. Those are all the series I've read this year. I should have told you this at the beginning of the video, but if there are any series that I should prioritize next year, let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some little insight on the series that I started working with this year. And if you'd like to leave me an emoji down below because you don't really feel like chatting, leave me a brain emoji. I don't know why, but we're choosing a brain. And then if you'd like to connect with me on other platforms, my Bookstagram, my Book Twitter, my Goodreads, and my Patreon, all linked in the description bar below. Have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day.